We will speak with former acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey, but first to Steve Harrigan, live outside the Delaney Hall ICE facility with the very latest there. Steve.
Kevin, they've pushed the access back about a half-mile from that detention center. As you can see behind me now, they're basically reinforcing these barricades. Now, the governor's plan was to switch out ICE officers with state and city police to try and calm things down a little bit, also to establish a safe area for peaceful protesters, which it pretty much was during the day. But at night, just after sunset around 9 o'clock, things really began to change. Some well-organized protesters charged forward, actually using the barricades initially to charge the police. The police responded instantly with pretty much point-blank shots of tear gas fired into the crowd. And then from there, it really spiraled. About 2 hours of battle for control of the street. Canister after canister of tear gas was fired up into the air. You could see the arcs of the smoke and then landing down at the scene. Police in riot gear with ballistic shields were pushing back as well as the two sides scuffled. The protesters late at night often come prepared for such activity. A lot of them had helmets on, goggles, gas masks. They were prepared for a fight, and a fight is what they got. Towards the end of the night, they began lighting fires on the street. This is pretty much an industrial area, so for the most part, not much property damage. Those fires were put out, and what we have now is a curfew situation in effect. Curfew beginning at 9 p.m. now through 6 a.m. the next day. We'll see if that manages to quiet things down. Kevin, back to you.
Great reporting as always. Steve, stay safe. Steve Harrigan for us. For more, let's continue the conversation with Jonathan Fahey, former acting ICE Director. All right, Jonathan, I think it's pretty fair to say this is organized. This is not organic in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and yet they continued to apply pressure on local law enforcement. Are you surprised by how things have gone thus far?
I wish I could say I am, but I think it's really back to the same tactics the Democrats were consistently using before the DHS shutdown, and it's just another implementation of that. And I think, Nick Sordo, that was so important for people to see that these are not organic protesters, and yet these Democratic officials are treating them as if they are, as if there's some legitimacy or that there's no intention for violence, when it seems like the whole intention of this is not to speak out against ICE, but to provoke confrontation so they could have another Minnesota-style incident so they could then continue to attack ICE. I think the governor's response has been very cynical because on one hand she says we want law and order type of thing, but then she trashes ICE and says how ICE, if we have them in the community, you'll be less safe, so sort of legitimizing any actions against ICE. And remember, she really lit the match on this last Monday, going to the facility, and of course they don't ask for, to put them in a different facility. They just say, let's let all the illegal aliens go free in the community, even if they're rapists, murderers, child molesters, what have you. So all of this has been a really lack and cynical ploy by the Democratic politicians, at least in my view.
Yeah, very interesting that there have been those who have suggested in Washington, Jonathan, that this really is sort of the armed guard of the Democratic Party and some of their policies. We've seen Antifa do this. You go back to 2020, we saw it quite often. The minority leader, I want to share this. This is Hakeem Jeffries. He says, listen, regardless of what you think of the protests or the protesters, what they are arguing is this place should be shut down immediately. Listen to this, get your reaction on the other side.
Delaney Hall should be shut down, and every single individual, particularly those at a high level connected to this facility, they're engaging in a depraved indifference to human life. And every single member of this Trump administration is going to be held accountable.
Interesting. He said depraved indifference to human life, which is precisely what a lot of critics would say was happening by some of these major offenders. I mean, we're not just talking about rapists and murderers. We're talking about people who've committed all measure of crimes against citizens of this country as well.
Exactly. And where's the evidence that he has that this is going on there? He doesn't have any. It's just a political tactic. And again, my other point, they never say, well, let's find a safer place for them. They always just say the answer should be to let them out, which is, again, part of the overall Democratic campaign of amnesty and open borders, and that's really what this is all about. They are fighting every effort to deport illegal aliens, and the worst part about it is they don't even care if they are these serious criminals. They'd rather keep them in the country and help their overall agenda than keep the community safe. And again, back to Mikey Sherrill, that's what makes what she's doing so cynical, because she's actually putting New Jersey in greater danger while saying she's trying to keep people safe. The whole thing is politically driven, but it's really politics in the worst possible way, because there is a system of government. If you want open borders, if you want amnesty, we have ways to pass law, but they know that doesn't work, so they use tactics of subversion to the detriment of public safety and law enforcement safety.
Let me ask you this, and this sort of, I think it basically says everything you were saying earlier about this being organized. Let me show you this post. There are those online, Jonathan, who are basically asking for help. They're saying, hey, listen, we would love the community to sort of crowd share all this stuff that we need, including goggles, shatterproof preferably, knee, wrist, shin, and arm guards, and helmets. When you're trying to crowdsource to maintain these protests, which many of which have gone into late hours of the night, I think that speaks not just to what they're planning to do, but what they intend to keep doing. Again, I hearken back to what happened in 2020 post-George Floyd. This may not go away unless law enforcement steps up very strongly to put this down, or at least put it in a box so that it's not harming individuals who have to work in these facilities.
Exactly. People that are breaking the law, that are obstructing agents, need to be locked up, held accountable, prosecuted, and pay a major penalty, because the deterrent value is so important. And again, these aren't protesters. Protesters don't need goggles, don't need any of these other things. We live in D.C., we see protests all the time, and they don't need all of this equipment. They're there for combat, to fight these agents, to create a disturbance. They want to create violence so that they can then complain about the violence. It's, again, the cynicism is so awful, and it's at the expense of the American people's safety.
I think everybody would agree. Protest, that's your right. In fact, we encourage protests that are done peacefully, but this is not peaceful protesting, and this seems to be, again, part of an armed and perhaps even violent organized group here. Jonathan Fahey, thank you as always for your time. We appreciate it.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.